Jerry Mason, the Kickin Lawyer, here for another Law Talk. I appreciate you guys taking time out of your day to watch us. And this one is recorded the day we're actually putting it up. So everything we're talking about, it is Friday. Was it June 13th? So it's all relevant for today. If you haven't, please like, follow, subscribe to the content. If you're looking to buy, sell, rent, lease real estate, Michelle Allen is your go-to in our area. If you want to open your own taekwondo school like us or another law firm or whatever you're doing, she'll help you out. She's also a good community leader on a lot of the boards around here, so check her out. If you want to learn to kick and punch people in the face, visit masonsmartialarts.com. We've been open since 1993. And all jokes aside, we are very excited. We're celebrating, working on 35 years there. And then Jam Books and Records is a new business we have on the square here in Covington. It's got books, records, signed memorabilia, graded comic books, all kinds of cool stuff. Come check us out there. And then my wife just started Holistic Healthcare and Hormones. If you want to maximize and optimize your health, she'd be glad to help you out. She works on perimenopause, women, men with testosterone issues, thyroid issues, whatever. And last but not least, if you want help with your website design, marketing plans, business stuff, commercials, visit masonitemarketing.com. I'm excited today. We did a special podcast today because Covington is very honored to host Mr. Andy Gross, who is a professional comedian, magician. He's got a special coming out, or it's actually already out on Amazon. Are You Kidding Me? I think is the name of it. And he will be performing tonight at the Ruffin Theater here in Covington. So tickets are still available if you want to do that and go check him out. I've looked at a lot of his stuff. You can check him out on social media or his special, and it's all very impressive. And we're just honored to have him in Covington. So, Mr. Andy, how you doing?
Good. I'm doing great. Thank you.
Good. Well, again, we were talking just briefly before the show, and it's very nice to finally meet you here.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So, did you get here last night, or?
I did come in late last night.
Yeah, and then you're doing, is it just the one show tonight?
One show.
Okay, so it's one shot for him to. So, like I said, you're a comedian, magician, and I think you do some other stuff too.
Do a little ventriloquism in there, which is strange. Yeah.
I don't know if it's strange. I guess it kind of fits.
No, it's great. I love it. Since I was 9, I wanted to become a ventriloquist, which is strange.
Huh. So was that first? Was it comedian, magician, ventriloquist?
Ventriloquism came first. I saw the movie Magic with Anthony Hopkins and Anne Margaret, and I went crazy. I said, God, how do they do that? How do they throw? I wanted to learn how to throw my voice because I knew when I grew up I just wanted to mess with people.
Did you have any puppets?
I did, yeah. That was strange. I was walking around little dummies at 9 years old. I'm surprised my parents didn't go, what's going on with this guy?
That's funny.
But they supported it. They loved it.
That's great. Yeah, that's good to have support. So I had a Blackstone magic set.
Oh, no kidding.
When I was a kid, and I thought I wanted to do that. But I don't know if I don't have the dexterity with it or what, or just didn't put the time in. Because I think people don't understand with magic, and you, of course, would be an expert on it. So I own a couple martial arts schools. I'm the Kickin Lawyer. I saw you did an act in.
Did you see the hand through the body one? Yeah.
Well, I was curious when I saw it if you actually had any training in martial arts.
I did have a little bit. I did have a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, that was very interesting. So I realized that it takes dedication to achieve expertise in anything, right? Yeah. And I guess I just didn't devote it to the magic.
No, it does. Yeah.
So you did the ventriloquism and then.
Did the ventriloquism, and then I had a friend that did some magic, and he showed me a couple of card tricks, and then I was hooked on that. And it was weird. I have a weird background, though, because I started off in St. Louis, Missouri, where I grew up. Mm-hmm. I actually played professional racquetball. So as a kid, I know it's weird. Racquetball was like what pickleball is today.
Yeah.
Back then, it was huge. It was the fastest growing sport in the country. And in St. Louis, for whatever reason, that was like the mecca of racquetball. That's where all the great champions came out of St. Louis. And I grew up with those guys, and it looked like sports was going to be my whole career. Mm. But the whole time I was doing sports, I had this magic of ventriloquism as a hobby. Mm-hmm. But I went on to play professional racquetball. I was the youngest ever. I was 15 years old to play on the pro tour.
Oh, that's awesome.
Toured around for years, but then the sport died.
Yeah.
It just died. I mean, I didn't go to college, and I didn't, because I was doing well with sports, so I was already in California. I go, now what the heck am I going to do? I got no money coming in. I didn't go to college. Wait a second. I can throw my voice. Huh. And I went to comedy clubs, and they said, hey, this is pretty funny. Come back next week. And then I never looked back. That was it.
So you sort of did the ventriloquism, the comedy, and then threw magic in there with it?
Exactly.
Over the course of
exactly,
it?
Yeah. Because people always say, comedians, sometimes real straight comedians, pure comedians, they think it's a crutch, the magic of the ventriloquism. You don't need that. You should just do straight stand-up comedy. And the truth is, I just love the magic since I was 9 years old. I was into it. This is what I wanted to do.
Cool. So did you learn tricks and things up through from being a kid forward?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I started when I saw that movie. You know, there was no internet. There was nothing like that. I just remember asking my dad a million times, "How does he do it? How does he do it?" And he's finally said, "Go to the library. You know, leave me alone."
So that's how you got it mostly.
Yeah.
Reading the learning from the books and stuff.
From the books.
So did you ever have anybody that was mentoring you in any way?
No, that was the thing. You didn't really have that. You couldn't even go on the internet to see if you're doing it right. You couldn't check anything. I had no idea if I was doing this correct or what was going on. You'd have to read books. And there was one, I don't know if you remember, like in the back of the comic books, there were things that said, fool your voice, fool your friends, throw your voice, be the life of the party. And I ordered that course in the mail on how to throw your voice. And they sent me this whole thing, step by step, how to throw your voice.
Huh.
And it's,
Hey, let me out. Come on, help me. Let me out of here right now. Let me out. Come on, help me.
That's
so,
weird.
so it's weird, yeah.
Yeah, let me out. Help me. Come on.
Yeah, it's fun to do at funerals.
Yeah.
I'm not dead yet.
That's impressive.
I've had fun with that one, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I've fooled a lot of people with that one. To the point, my kids even get mad at me. They're like, "Stop doing that, Dad."
But that could be weird if you're like in twilight before you go to sleep, and all of a sudden there's the voices coming up.
Oh yeah.
Because I'm sure your wife appreciates that.
Well, what's weirder is I have about 200 ventriloquist dummies in the house because I collect them. I have some old ones, some really old ones from the turn of the century, actually. And that's a little strange, when you're walking around the house and you see these heads and dummies.
I don't know
and
that
stuff.
it's strange to have them, but it would be weird to be there with them.
Yeah.
Yes. You don't have any that are moving on their own, do you?
Well, you know what? It's funny you say that because there is a YouTube video. Here's what happened. I have a whole display case full of them, and we try to keep them in one room, but they move around. No, they don't. We keep them in one room. But this did happen. I was going to shows, and every time I'd come home, I'd look in the display case, and one of the dummies would be moved. I mean, really, his head would be turned, or he'd be laying down, and I thought, this is strange. How is this happening? So I thought my kids or my wife was messing with me a little bit. So I set up a hidden camera when I left, and it's on YouTube. This damn thing moved by itself inside the case. You'll see it. Now, I don't know, and I'm not joking. I don't know if it was maybe a little mini earthquake, or it was, I don't know, or somebody, the kids upstairs jumping around, maybe and the head just moved. But you see it on YouTube, the head moves. So a lot of people were like, "What's?"
You still have it?
I know. Everybody, you should hear the comments on YouTube. Take that thing and burn it.
Yeah.
Burn the whole house down. Get rid of that.
Yeah.
But
That's a whole thing we could talk about.
Yeah.
So this is an old building.
Yeah.
And we've had some experiences in this building.
Oh, I'm sure.
And so anyway, that's a whole thing we can talk about. Before we get into all that, though, can you tell everybody time tonight, what they can expect?
Yes.
So a lot of our audience is local, so they'll all know kind of how to get to the Ruffin Theater, but time, sort of what to expect at your show, that kind of thing.
I think it's around 7 o'clock. I don't know the exact time.
You know what? I can look it up.
I should know, but I don't because I have to be there at some point.
Exactly when it is.
I think it's 7 or 7:30. But what they can expect, I can tell them that for sure. A lot of comedy, at least I hope, and the magic and the ventriloquism, audience participation, and it's a great show for adults on a date night out, as well as kids. All ages are welcome to this show, but I always stress it's not a kiddie magic show. It's not the type of thing you bring your little kids to and like a romper room. They can come, but it's best for ages 12, 13 and up, really. And even great for adults. 7 o'clock.
7 o'clock.
7 o'clock at the Ruffin Theater tonight, yeah. And I'm looking forward to it because these are some of my favorite places to perform, like I was telling you earlier.
Yeah.
Small to mid-sized towns, beautiful theaters, been renovated, and the whole community comes out and gets behind these shows and supports it. And they have a blast.
Yeah.
We're going to have fun.
Well, it's like I said, we're excited to have you as a community. Yeah. I know that, like I told you before, I think the current Ruffin Board has been doing a great job. They got a lot of great things going on. There's a lot of cool things this weekend. I don't know how long you're here, but tonight I'm going to recommend everybody go see you.
Okay.
Tomorrow there's called Depot Days. It's a new thing they're doing just down here. It's walking distance from the square here. And they've got music all day. There's a new distillery open that's got our own Covington whiskey.
Wow.
And he's got rum, and Darren's got all kinds of cool stuff down there. They've got a stage also. They've got bands playing all day. There's a car show. There's going to be vendors. There's a whole lot of stuff going on tomorrow.
Great, yeah.
Depot Days in town. So I recommend you guys check that out. And then of course the new theater is open in Atoka, so you can go check those guys out too.
And it's under new management. We should stress.
Yeah, it's under new management. That's why I bring it up. So anyway, there's a movie theater here that there were some issues with. It's fixed. So
good.
It's good.
Yeah.
So real quick though on the I was trying to get to like your I said, what did I call it? Mentors, people
Yeah.
that who if you didn't have a specific mentor, was there anybody that growing up you mentioned the one movie you'd seen? But
Yeah, that was a big
anybody
part of
that
it.
you like looked up to?
Yeah,
like
there were a few.
magicians?
There were a few, but again, back then, that you really couldn't. You could only see one ventriloquist on television.
Yeah.
And I waited around. That was a TV show called Soap. I don't know if you remember that show called Soap. It was a great television sitcom. It was way ahead of
remember
its
it.
time, kind of edgy for its time, really
Well, I'm not
edgy.
going to ask how old you are, but what year were you talking?
I was young. I was very young. That was probably 78, 79.
Okay, so I was born 79. So
Okay, so 78, 79.
Yeah.
But I think the reruns went on for a long, long time. I think you can still find it. It's called Soap. And there was a ventriloquist on there. It was like a family of all these people, and then they were all a little crazy in their own rights. But one was a ventriloquist. His name was Jay Johnson. Still around, and it was incredible. I would wait all week long just to see this guy come out and do a couple of little lines in that. He only, he didn't have a huge part, but he would come out and do his little bit. And that was the only ventriloquist I could see. And then I actually, to me, he was like bigger than life, this guy, when I was a kid watching them work with that puppet. Then I got to meet him as I grew up here and kind of friendly with him now, and which is kind of cool. And he was one of the best, still is incredible, this guy.
That's great. It's
Yeah.
good too that when you meet your heroes, that they're still heroes.
Oh, and he was
sometimes that happens, and sometimes it doesn't.
I've heard stories like that too, but this particular guy happened to be an incredible guy.
great.
He really is.
Well, what about on magic? Like Houdini. My oldest son Alex is in the Navy now. He used to do magic acts as a little kid, right?
Yeah.
He would host them and get like 10 cents, and people
Yeah.
come watch him. But he had in his, I bought him a Houdini set, and he had like a Houdini poster, but he was all about Harry Houdini.
Yeah.
Which was not really magic, more escape artist, but anybody like that you...
Well, Houdini was always a big influence for sure. I had Houdini posters, hanging up and all that kind of stuff in my room. But Doug Henning, you remember that name? Doug Henning was one of the first magicians that had a Broadway play. Then he had TV specials. He was before David Copperfield.
Okay.
And then David Copperfield came along. Doug Henning was huge. He was like Blackstone, and then Doug Henning.
Gotcha.
He was really, really big early, but again, early on. This was in the late 70s, early 80s. He had a long run in Broadway and then TV specials. And then he really thought he could float and ran off with the Maharishi and got into that stuff, and kind of his career kind of faded out. And then he passed away early on, too early. But he was a big influence on me. You can still watch his specials on YouTube and things like that. And then, of course, David Copperfield, he was done so much for magic. It's incredible.
So you, if people go to your Instagram or any of your social media, they can kind of see some of the pieces of things you do. And you do a lot of what I watched was public magic.
Yeah.
Which is very impressive to me because you're literally right there with the people.
Yeah.
What I wanted to ask you though, because we talked briefly before, you had the one in the karate school and stuff. Have you had, of course the videos you put up are people freaking out, which is freaky because you're pulling heads off and all this different stuff. Have you ever had any where they were just like hanging out? Like they didn't have a reaction at all?
God, yeah. Are you
really?
kidding? That's the thing. People ask me that all the time because here's, we get people to get mad. I do get people to
I
get
wondered
mad.
about that.
Oh, yeah. I did one in a restaurant. I don't know if you saw where I was like a Benihana or a chef, and I was a Japanese chef, and I was wearing the hat and the whole thing, and I would cut my arm. Did you see that one? I don't know if you saw- Okay.
Yeah.
So I had a guy that got really mad at me. He said, I wait all month to take my family out to dinner. You've ruined it with this blood dripping everywhere. It was obviously fake blood, but still. So I had to buy him dinner. So and his whole family.
Yeah.
People do get a little upset occasionally, but most of the time they're good sports. But I do get people that don't react. So what'll happen is I might have to do this trick all day long to get, our 5, 6, 8, 10 great reactions.
Gotcha.
And those are the ones you usually see that we put up.
Sure.
Well,
you're getting reps in, I guess, as you do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I did the one where I was cut in half in the park, and then shortly
Saw
after
one
that,
several-
there
that's
was-
actually the one that Josh was familiar with.
That was the one I first video years I ever saw was the park one.
that one made the rounds. That one really made the rounds. I mean,
I had seen that one and not realized it was you. Too,
Yeah.
while I still was looking it up. So that one has been around.
Yeah, that was a fun one. Once that one came out, it kind of just took off, and I kept following them up. But there's a funny story with that one. I got a call from a production company in New York shortly after I did that video, and they said, we're doing a magic special or magic TV show, and we want you to come out and host it. And it was like a pilot they were shooting for this. So I said, this is it. This is the big time. So I went out to New York, and they wanted me to do that thing where I'm cut in half. So I did that in the city of New York all day long, and we got crap reactions because New York, they just looked at me with blinders on. They go, oh, there's another freak, just leave him alone, don't look at him. And I was jumping out screaming at people, and But it was really hard to get reactions. Other than the next day, I could barely walk because it's a very funny position you have to be in to do that trick.
Yeah.
And they had me do it. I mean, literally 10, 12 hours I was doing that trick. So it was, but that's a good question.
So is that one that you develop on your own? And obviously you don't want to reveal all your secrets.
Yeah.
But I'm always curious because I really did have a fascination with the magic. Because that show, you'll probably remember this. It was like 80s, 90s where the magician revealed the trick.
Masked magician.
Yeah, the masked magician.
Well, I needed the money.
Okay, so you're the guy?
No, it's not me. Not me.
Yeah, yeah.
Everybody knows who it is now.
And I mean, I thought it was great in that but then at the same time, all of a sudden, then the magic's gone of it, you know?
Yeah.
So like, I kind of like the mystery of it. But when you do those things like that, do you come up with how that's going to work?
Yeah,
Like,
most
work through
magic
that?
tricks. Here's the thing, most magic tricks have been around so long. So what'll happen is someone will find and take an old principle of magic. I mean, there's only so many ways to cut someone in half. You know, you're not really doing it. Everybody knows it's fake. But how to make the illusion look great. So you take an old principle and you kind of reinvent it and kind of put your own spin on it. That's what you do, and that's what all magic really is. You see stuff done 200 years ago. They were writing on caves on a cave walls on magicians doing magic tricks.
Yeah, I'm always mesmerized by because I try as I'm watching, especially the street magic. I know there's misdirection a lot of times. I watched one last night. I was watching some of your stuff, and there's one where you were doing I think it was cards in one hand, and you got the guy's watch.
Yes.
And then held the guy's watch back.
Yeah.
And you're able to get. I didn't wear a watch today on purpose.
Yeah.
So, but the misdirection part's interesting. It's interesting when you're in a group of people that even know there's going to be some kind of misdirection.
Yeah.
And you're still able to. That's very impressive that you're able to do that. So how did that to me is a different skill than stage magic. The street magic thing.
It is for
Being
sure.
able to do
Yeah,
that.
yeah. The close-up magic. I mean, that's something I practiced as a kid a lot.
Yeah.
Now I don't do it quite as much because I'm doing more comedy and up on stage.
Sure.
But the close-up magic to me is some of the funnest stuff and the most difficult. That's the one you really do need some practice. And getting someone's watch off, it's 100% misdirection.
Yeah.
I mean, and most people say, "Oh, there's no way you can do that. You can't really do it," but you can. I mean, there's quite a few guys that can do it. David Blaine does it.
Yeah.
He did, I think, the President George Bush back then in the White House. He got his watch off, and no clue.
Yeah,
All the
and-
Secret Service guys standing there, nobody knew he stole his watch. You know.
So
It's
what
like-
do you think about like him as an example? So he started more doing what I call street magic,
Right.
close-up magic, and then now he's started. The most recent things he did were more like these. I don't know if they're real. I seem to be real. Like mental body control,
extreme endurance type of stuff he does? Yeah.
That kind of stuff.
Pretty amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, I happen to really like him. I think he's great. I mean, and he took that street magic, and it wasn't anything new or different that he was doing that a lot of us had been doing, but he was smart enough and sharp enough, and at the right time, he captured that on film, put it on television, and boy, it took off. People were ready for that. They were tired of the old big boxes, and the hair blowing.
He packaged it a little different too.
He did. He packaged
He was
it great.
kind of mysterious. It was darker. And
Yes.
kind of like what Chris Angel kind of switched things up in Vegas too. It was still over the top, but a different Vegas show than the traditional musician is interesting.
But Blaine really did. He was the first guy to really capitalize on that street magic stuff. And you're right, he did that real serious, barely talking and things. But I saw him live and puts on a great show.
Really?
I mean, just a great show. It really was. And he was funny. It wasn't all real serious. He was really funny. And some of the stuff he does, people ask me all the time, they go, how does he do it? I go, I think he really does it. Because, I mean, at one point I'm watching him do a show, 45 minutes, he's going to take a break, and he goes, okay, we're gonna take a 15-minute break now. And then all of a sudden he starts heaving. He hadn't left the stage, but he's been talking and working, and he's heaving, like he's throwing up. But this goes on for like 5 minutes to where the audience is getting kind of they're like, they're almost starting to boo him because he's just, then he takes a glass, and a frog comes out, a live frog. He regurgitates a live frog in a glass. And then he just looks around with this little mysterious look, and then he starts heaving again for like another 5 minutes, and another frog comes up. And people are going crazy. I mean, the whole audience is just screaming. And then on the way out, he goes, okay, I'll be right back. And then he takes a glass, and he swallows them before he walks off the stage. And he brings the camera in close, and they look in his mouth, and there's nothing. So pretty impressive.
Yeah.
I mean, I think there was a guy back in the old days called the Human Aquarium, where he could regurgitate live, frogs and things like that, and he could keep them store them apparently in his stomach in water in his stomach. It was amazing.
Yeah, that's all impressive. I mean,
Yeah,
I know it looks magical or whatever, but
half the audience were actually regurgitating.
Yeah,
but I mean,
yeah. Especially,
but they
I've
loved
seen
it.
him-
They loved it.
I can't remember if he's the one that did it. I've seen people do it with goldfish and stuff like that.
Yes,
or
yeah.
bring like the liquid up and then the solid, all those different
Yeah.
things. That's impressive that they.
Yeah,
do.
and then he shot the liquid across the stage and lit it on fire. I mean, he drinks
Yeah,
kerosene.
yeah.
Pretty wild stuff.
Yeah, we're gonna see any of that tonight.
No, I won't be doing that. No.
Well, I
mean,
noticed you got some cards. Is there anything?
I do
that
have
you
some
wanna show
cards.
us?
I brought them just in case. You want
Sure.
to do
Yeah.
a
Hey,
card? We'll do a
I'm
little
all
card
about
trick.
it.
All right.
Especially
Here's a-
since, like I said, here is maybe haunted, so it
Yeah.
fits.
All right, here's one for you. I have a deck of cards. They're in rubber bands. I want you just to think of any card. There's 52 cards. You think of one. I'm going to name it.
All right, I got it.
I'm going to name it. I'm going to name it Paris.
You're gonna name it Paris.
I'm going to name it Paris. See, all right.
Yeah.
Let me
You
explain.
got it.
Let me explain.
Maybe Paris.
52 cards, and here's why. Each one of these cards. Name. What was your card you were thinking of?
Ace of Spades.
The Ace of Spades. Okay, kind of a common. We're going to go through and we'll find the Ace of Spades. Come on, where's the Ace of Spades? Here it is. There's the Ace of Spades right here. We'll place it right there. All right, now here's what I was talking about. Remember I said name your card Paris? I named all the cards. This one I named London. You can see Philadelphia, Rome. You can bring the camera right on if it comes in close. Sydney, Las Vegas, Amsterdam, Miami, Houston, Los Angeles. I named every card a different name in here. San Francisco, Dubai, New Orleans. But I named yours
That is Paris.
Paris.
Now, how would you do that? That's interesting because for those that didn't pay attention, he asked me before he touched the
Yeah,
thing,
no,
so-
yeah. That's the thing. I mean, so there'll be some stuff like that tonight. Here's another one that you might like too. And it's important to always tell people that they maybe set something up, but we've never met, haven't prearranged anything.
No.
Let's see if I can do this one right now too. Here's another one. Earlier today, I took one card. I turned it over in the deck, just one card. What card are you thinking of right now?
Three of Hearts.
Three of Hearts. Now, you could have said any card, correct?
I actually tried to visualize several cards and then picked a Three of Hearts.
Okay, three of Hearts. Any card he could have said, and there's a rubber band on here, so I can't do anything funny. Earlier today, like I said, I took one card and I reversed it in the deck. So there should be one card reversed in this deck. I'm going to go through it right here, and I'll look for the Three of Hearts. Right near the beginning, there is one card reversed out of all the cards, and you said the Three of Hearts.
Yeah.
It's crazy stuff, right? Yeah.
See, I don't understand how that's possible.
I know.
It's literally that's what's so crazy about it. It's like it's magic.
Okay, because I'll tell you how I do it.
Well, you don't have to tell me how
Well,
you do
no,
it.
because I don't. I remember that I told you I did ventriloquism. I really don't. There's just a little
Yeah.
tiny talking guy in here.
Okay.
Hey, let me out. Come on, help me. Let me out. Hey, let me out.
And then he heard you say Three of Hearts, and he turned it over very quickly.
Well, that makes me feel much
That's
better about it.
ridiculous, yeah.
Well, that's
So
impressive.
yeah, so there's some fun stuff. I mean, that's kind of sort of sleight of hand stuff right there. But I like the kind of mentalism stuff, and most of the stuff I do, I try to keep it a little bit different from what's out there because, like you said, how do you learn now? You can go on the internet now and you can learn a lot of this stuff, which I kind of hate because kids, you can go home now. In the old days, you could always figure out how a trick was done, but you'd have to go to the library. You have to check out a book. You'd have to research and find where that trick was. Now you just Google it and it pulls up if you really want to know a trick, which I kind of hate. So, but hopefully most people don't do it.
Yeah, I don't think most people are going to take the time.
Yeah,
for it.
they don't
And
want
then- And then there are some that, even if you kind of know how to do it, it's still impressive.
That's right.
You see it in front of you. There's a skill.
That's exactly what I was going to say. It's all about the presentation now. I mean, a lot of times you'll know how a trick is done. Like I know how pretty much every trick is done, and I'll go see other magicians like David Blaine, and I go, "Wow, this is great," because the presentation was so good.
Yeah.
Even though you know how it's done, I still thoroughly enjoyed it.
Well, speaking of that, are there any, because you're clearly an expert on it, are there any magicians, and I keep focusing on the magic, and I know you do the other stuff.
Sure.
But for me growing up, the magic
Magic
was
is
so
great.
cool.
Yeah, no, that's my.
Are there any tricks you've seen, illusions or anything where you're like, man, I don't know how he did that?
Yeah, that happens. It does
Kinda like
happen.
didn't Penn and
Teller
Teller
have a
had
show
a
called. I
show,
was just going to say they have a show
yeah.
called Fool Us.
Yeah.
And occasionally they get fooled. I think a few times they may have said they were fooled when they weren't because there's some stuff that I was looking. Oh, they should know that.
Yeah.
They might have just really liked that guy and wanted him to do well. I think maybe not, but. Yeah, occasionally I will go see some tricks, but like I said, there's only so many different ways of doing something, and it's not real. My dad taught me this years ago, and he wasn't a magician or anything like that, but he would take me to magic shows because he was into it and liked it, and he would say, he's not really, the Statue of Liberty isn't vanishing. He can't really do that. So if you think logical, you're probably going to figure out it didn't move, something else might have moved, So if you really think like that,
I watched that one live, by
it's
the way.
The Statue of Liberty?
The one where he wasn't it? Who was it? Which one was it?
David Copperfield, yeah.
I watched that on TV.
Oh yeah,
I say
okay,
live.
on
I watched it on TV.
Yeah, on TV. Yeah.
But I remember it was a big deal. They had
Oh,
a big
it was
special,
huge. It was
and
huge.
then they had it live, and he moves the Statue of Liberty. It was
Yeah,
a big
because
deal.
I mean, there was no there was no internet. There was only one guy. It was him. He dominated magic for 30 years or something like that. Yeah. But you know what? I tell most people, you come out to a magic show, you suspend your disbelief for that hour, and you just have fun. You know it's not real, but you just go have a good time.
You know, some people want it to be real though.
That's true too.
I'm hopeful. I don't know everything about the world. You know, I mean, I
Right.
don't know. Maybe there could be whatever. But I always liked the levitation stuff.
It's great.
Yeah, and I was like, man, maybe that guy did levitate.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I like to
Yeah.
be tricked too and be left with that feeling of
Okay, I don't want to take it away from you, but I really am magic then. Okay, so I don't want you, I keep saying it's not real. Okay, it is real, and I am magic.
No, I'm just saying that.
And I will be floating over the
there's
theater tonight.
Hopeful out there that maybe there's something to it. I don't know.
Well, there might be. There might be.
Well,
I don't know either.
I'm a religious guy.
Yeah.
So I believe in angels
Sure.
and demons, right?
Sure.
So if there's that kind
Sure.
of stuff, the Bible says there's magic. So maybe
Yes.
there's magic. You know,
Absolutely.
There's definitely dark magic, I guess.
Yeah.
But that's
I just didn't do it when I was up in Salem one time. That's where they burn us up there. You know.
Funny you say that.
I was
so
scared up there.
My wife is she likes any show with little people, polygamists, or like witches. So she watches,
really?
So we literally were gonna go. We went to visit. I'm the coach of the U.S. Taekwondo team still. Okay, and so we performed at the Arnold Classic in Columbus this year. And we do it every year. It's great. It was a big, huge event. Anyway. So we do like a family vacation around that trip. So we were going to go to Columbus, and then we were looking, and we were going to go to Salem because she'd never been.
It's pretty cool.
Well, I saw things say it was cool, but most people were like, it's a day trip. I don't know. If
That's all it is. Yeah, it really is. Yeah.
So we ended up not going, but that's interesting. You've been there.
Yeah.
So I guess
a couple of
it's worth
times.
a
I
day
did some
trip.
shows right around there, and I went down there and looked around.
Yeah.
It was their Halloween time one time, which was really neat.
Oh man, I bet that's crazy.
That was wild. Yeah.
So I can detect a slight accent. Where are you originally? You said
From
St. Louis,
Missouri. Yeah. I don't know. It might be a little bit
different
of a
accent though.
Yeah.
Than, usually you have a southern drawl. You're St. Louis.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
There is something there, though, for sure. The way I talk.
So that's where you still live?
No, I'm in California now, in Los
are you?
Angeles. I've been out there 30 some odd years already, and I moved out originally for sports, and then I kind of got stuck. You know, I went out and got in the entertainment, and then.
So man, you've been there through the ups and downs with California.
I really have.
All the political turmoil.
Yeah, and it's. I was been talking to my wife recently. We have one more kid in high school now, and I said when she's done, we might make the move, which I hate because I love Los Angeles.
Sure.
I really did. But it has changed. Changed a lot. I don't think you have to be there necessarily now like the old days where you really had to be there if you were heavy in the entertainment. I think you can do it anywhere now.
Well, especially your profession.
Yeah, mine for sure.
Rogan has definitely
he
shown the door. You know,
Absolutely.
they're moving to Nashville or Austin.
Yeah.
A lot of the folks.
Yes.
I've been to his comedy club down there. It's real nice. I've been to L.A. twice. And I flew in because my son's in the Navy, so I started in San Diego.
Okay.
And then we would drive up for the day to L.A. I've been 2 times. And so I'm into weightlifting and stuff. So we went to Venice Beach and all that, and Hollywood, where they got anyway, all that kind of stuff, all the touristy stuff. But there were so many homeless everywhere. It's like everywhere. And then I went the time Josh is my
I
brother.
went the second time with you.
He went with me, and the only other thing I was going to say is we were on, which I'm sure now you would have known it's not a good area to be in, but down where they have the Walk of Fame.
The Walk of Fame.
Yeah. We were down there, and man, it was so many people coming up just begging and homeless and doing drugs on the street. Not to dog on L.A.
Yeah.
But that was my impression as a tourist coming in. And I wouldn't have wanted, I have a wife and children. I wouldn't have wanted them with me.
No.
You know, during it.
Yeah, everybody says that. And it's sad because the truth is, I mean, it's Hollywood and that's where the tourists go.
Yeah.
And people flock to Hollywood to go, to see the glamour and the glitz and the excitement. And they're going to see Brad Pitt walking down the street. And he goes in and you see a pile of, not Pitt, but, you see a pile of it sitting,
Sure.
I don't know what we can say or can't say on here, but that's what you see. It's sad. It really is because I think they could have done a much better job and kept Hollywood to be that main tourist attraction. Even Venice Beach you went to, it's very cool, and that's one of the number 1 tourist attractions too. But it's pretty sketchy down there too, right?
Down there too.
Yeah.
Well, and I won't get into all the politics, but what's interesting is San Diego was great.
Yeah.
San Diego's limited homeless. Like he was in the SEAL program, so it was the Coronado Island.
Sure.
And they not that it's right, But their authorities would literally, if there's somebody homeless, they'll pick them up and cart them back to San Diego across the bay. Like they're very strict on. And then San Diego proper was very healthy, and there's all this fitness stuff, and just the fact it's the same state. So I know that people get into the red and blue thing, but San Diego was great,
right?
And then L.A. man was just rough.
Yeah, I don't get it. Yeah. I really don't. I don't get it why they let that happen. And what they can do to even fix it, I don't know. I wish they would because,
I don't know.
Like I said, I'm a fan of LA, but it's come a time when I'm probably going to be leaving too. Yeah. And it's strange. I think it's the first time in maybe forever, that more people are leaving than are coming into Los Angeles now. Yeah. So before my home, goes down too low, I would have sold it.
Yeah, well, that's part of it. I mean, I know that the taxing, the way they tax income there is crazy too.
It's hard. It's hard. I mean, you're talking $1 million for some little home that you'd look at it, and you'd drive by like you're saying, and go, I don't even want my kids and family to be in this thing. Yeah, scary. You're talking $1 million. Yeah. So yeah, and gas is over some $5.50 a gallon there or something like that. And
well, hopefully
tomorrow it might be more because of what's happening, right?
Yeah. Well, I was going to say hopefully that the people will come out and support you tonight and show you the love of Tennessee.
Yes, and then that would be great. That would be good.
Tennessee's kind of like St. Louis. I mean, it's people get murdered in St. Louis and Memphis. It's both. Yeah. So
yeah, that's right. That's right. Well, East St. Louis. I always say, St. Louis does have a lot. It always gets a bad rap.
That's how Memphis is.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's areas of Memphis that aren't bad.
Oh, yeah.
But the focus is on... and in most of the violence is gang-on-gang violence.
Right, sure.
So if you're not in a gang...
Like L.A. again, yeah.
Yeah, it is.
You're probably okay.
Yeah, so there's certain areas you can go that are fine. There are areas in Memphis I avoid.
That are rough, right?
Yeah, oh, sure, yeah. I was a deputy for 12 years.
Okay.
And so we would even work... I was on SWAT with this local SWAT team, and we would go help the Shelby County SWAT team, which is Memphis, and go in and do different high-risk search warrants and stuff they had. But there are areas there that, like right now, I don't want to bring my family to. When I was in law school, I went to Memphis Law School right on the river. It's a beautiful campus, one of the most beautiful law schools this side of the Mississippi, at least. And I had 2 different guys try to rob me in broad daylight. Right. Walking to my car, coming up middle of the day, going to rob me. So
that's pretty amazing. Yeah. Because you're a fit guy, plus, like you said, you're in the martial arts.
Oh, well, it wasn't successful, but they attempted it.
Right, there you go. Yeah, that's good.
But my point was they were bold enough in the middle of the day to come up and try to rob somebody. Yeah. It's just crazy.
Well, last time I was here, I was down by Elvis Presley's place, and that area is not...
Yeah, that's come up some.
Has it? I hope so.
Yeah, so they've added... Well, Josh knows. He did like a movie thing down there.
Film script.
Again, because it's another tourist attraction. You don't want that place looking run down.
That was definitely struggling, but they have invested money in that area. Yeah. So it's come up a little bit.
Because I remember getting gas over there, and it was kind of, whoa. But and both my credit cards got shut off after I put them in. Yeah. And I was stupid enough, I put it in, and it said decline. I go, decline, that's weird. Took it out, looked at it, so I put my other one in there, and then I got a message from the bank right away saying fraud on both, and they turned both of them off. I was like, you kidding? I was stupid enough to put both of them in there.
Hey, man, at least you got out with your breath.
Yeah, I got out okay, yeah. So you were in the Taekwondo stuff, huh?
Yeah, so I started when I was 6 in martial arts. I got beat up real bad. Yeah. Right here, I'm born and raised in Covington. Okay. And then I trained forever, and at 18, I got on the U.S. Taekwondo team. So I've been to North Korea, South Korea, China. We were just talking about that before you came in here, how I've been to North Korea. Wow. And did it forever. And then I fought professionally as an MMA guy. So I did kickboxing and MMA professionally.
Love that.
And then now I still own 2 martial arts schools. I still teach people. I taught folks all the time.
See, as a kid, I did Taekwondo as a kid. Got to be a brown belt. It was pretty good. Yeah. And then I stopped. And then in most recent years, I was doing a little jiu-jitsu stuff.
Yeah, that's good.
And I had a friend of mine. This was already about 15 years ago. And he was quite a bit older than me then. He had a pacemaker. The guy was a thin guy, a little guy. And he's like, hey, let's come roll around in my garage. And he was really into it. He trained with the Gracies. Mm-hmm. And actually, Horian came to his place, and we trained with him a little bit. Yeah. So, and I said, I'll kick your butt. I'll kick I know this stuff. Well, let me tell you something. He shot in on me, took me down immediately in his garage, which is bizarre, on these mats, and just kept slapping me in the face and hurting me, And so I got to get into this. So I started doing some of that too. And and he was training me for a while. Unfortunately, he actually passed away on the mat down at the Gracie's Academy in Torrance, in California.
Man, that's the original one in Torrance.
Yes, that's where he was. Yeah, and those guys were great. He was very close with them, and they used to come to his garage and roll around with us.
What was his name?
John Boyd. John Boyd, yeah.
So I do jiu-jitsu also. Okay. And I've even trained with Hoist, but my focus was striking. That's mostly what I am. Yeah. But I have tons of respect for all those guys. Like, it takes so much dedication. And then the thing that's interesting, and I think you found this out, is that it's a skill set that people don't understand they lack until you get with someone skilled in it.
Right.
Yeah, it's literally
Like this guy.
whether it's striking or grappling. I think people. I had a guy. Just slight side note. So I'm an attorney, right?
Yeah.
And I represent all kinds of folks. And there's a big case right now in another area involving some law enforcement. And I represent the law enforcement. They're accused of some excessive force and stuff. Well, not to get deep into it, but this local official sent me a threatening me from this other jurisdiction. And then this other person associated with them also sent me a threat. And the part that was interesting to me was they clearly didn't look at any of my background. These are like just normal Southern folks, no training, very limited physical skill, honestly, if you just look at them. And they're threatening physical harm on me.
Physical threat?
Oh, sure.
It was a physical threat?
Yes. So unlike most lawyers who would be like turning it into the bar and being all upset, I went and asked the local sheriff his permission to handle it. When this is all done, let me just go out here with them and just handle it, And but my point is That's they clearly just don't have any concept of the skill difference, what they'd be looking at on that skill difference. So, but anyway, it's interesting that you did that. I told you I was going to ask you about that on the, I saw you did the karate, you were doing some karate poses and stuff.
Yeah, I trained with those guys for a while too at that place where I filmed that thing. We became friends and
that's cool.
He was great too. But I found, the thing is like now I don't argue with anyone.
Yeah.
Because, you get in a parking spot, little dispute or something going on. Guy looks small, looks little skinny, lanky guy. I have respect for this stuff now.
Sure.
You never know.
You never know. You don't know what they have either.
Yeah.
What they have on them.
Yeah.
Last question I'll ask you, and then we'll tie the thing up for you, because I know you want to go get you some either Breakfast Cove or Pappy and Jimmy's.
Yes.
But I noticed you look like you worked out, and you look like you work out. On your thing.
I still try to.
How do you do that traveling? I was just curious, all the traveling you do.
Yeah. I should be doing it more, to be honest, because most of the time I stay in these hotels and they have these workout rooms, but instead I'll go back and, have a hamburger sometimes and just sit there and watch YouTube videos. Yeah. But I really should be working out. But I try to. When I'm not on the road, or even when I'm on the road, I'll try to eat for the most part 80% healthy.
Yeah.
And I'll work out. I will go down to the gyms occasionally, but not like what I used to.
Yeah.
But from the sports days, that's all I used to do.
Sure.
6-8 hours a day, was just working out.
And again, just a side note on that. That's interesting. I get that the racquetball sort of fell out of interest, but you got the pickleball's picked up in tennis, and there's similar skill sets. So do you still perform or play with those?
I play some pickleball now a little bit.
You didn't think about transition into that when you were pro level racquetball?
It wasn't there yet. There was nothing. It was a shame. Look, I did really well in racquetball. I'm not, it was great to me. Had some great endorsements. Traveled around, played these tournaments, did exhibitions and clinics, and it was great. And still is good. I still can't believe to this day how many shows I go to, and old racquetball guys will show up and say, "Yeah, I liked your show, but I saw you play in Memphis. I used to play in Memphis at the university. They had a great court there, big glass court. We used to play a lot of tournaments there.
Yeah.
Actually, Elvis used to play racquetball. He was into racquetball and used to show up to that thing. I was awfully young. I don't really remember him seeing him, but everyone said he used to be there all the time. And he had a court in Graceland actually.
Yeah.
And
I didn't know he played racquetball. He did martial arts.
Oh yeah, he did martial arts for sure. Yeah, but he has a court in Graceland with a racket still hanging there. And he was going to open up a line, a whole chain of racquetball, because it was like pickleball. He was going to be called King's Courts.
Huh,
so he was going to open up a whole line of racquetball thing. It was a big thing. And of course, racquetball, unfortunately, such a great sport. It's still out there, and there's still pros, but it's just not quite the same. It doesn't have pickleball is just huge.
That's still an interesting journey, though.
It was great. It was good. My thing with racquetball was the reason it didn't really make it is because it was so fast. We were hitting the ball 150 miles an hour, and the camera couldn't follow it. Mm-hmm. It's a terrible spectator sport on television, unfortunately. But live, it's an awesome sport. These guys are diving 2, 3, 4 times per rally.
Yeah.
If somebody would dive in tennis or pickleball, that would make the highlight reel for a month.
Yeah.
These guys are diving 2 or 3 times, hitting between their legs, behind their back and stuff, and it's just nothing. It's like, great athletes, unfortunately, but they're just, they're not getting rewarded for it, which is sad because it is a great workout, and people still should go play, really, but,
Yeah, well, maybe somebody will see this and pick up a racket.
Hard to find courts now, though, is the problem. They all changed over, but But pickleball's fun too.
Yeah. I just started pickleball literally like 2
Do you like
weeks
it?
ago. Yeah, it was fun. It's fun. It's fun.
It's kind of easy to play. It's not as hard on the
Yeah,
body.
it's not as hard as tennis. You're not
Yeah.
moving as much. The ball is slower.
Yeah.
So I see why it's gained some popularity. It's
Yeah.
super popular around here. There's some tennis courts over here where they have the smaller fences or whatever to do pickleball. So there's you can do like 4 in the one they have, and every night there's a bunch of kids out there playing.
Yeah.
So
But there are a lot of older people playing. They said there's
There
more
are.
injuries for adults like 55 and over are up like 50% now because of pickleball.
Huh.
They're seeing knee injuries, shoulder injuries, or people falling, and it's
hey, but I bet their cardiac issues are down because they're getting worked out.
probably
in.
should be, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Loved it.
Well, Andy, I appreciate you coming on
No,
the show.
thank you.
Thank you for being here. And again, on behalf of Covington, not that I can speak for everybody, I know we're glad to have you.
Thank you.
And the show is tonight at the Ruffin Theater. Mr. Andy Gross, comedian, ventriloquist, and magician. And it starts at 7 o'clock p.m. on the Ruffin stage here in Covington, Tennessee. Again, today is June 13th. It is today. It's June 13th. I know normally we show this and it's later, but this one is for today. So make
Actually,
sure you go.
Friday the 13th, correct?
It is Friday the
Wow.
13th. That's a good
What a day
good
for a
time to
magic
do-
show, yeah.
It's a good day to do some magic. So thank you guys for watching. As always, please like, follow, subscribe to the content. We're on all social media platforms and all podcast platforms. So wherever you follow us, we're trying to get our YouTube stuff up. I don't know. Do you, just as a side note, do you struggle? What platform do you feel like you have the most reach on?
For me, Instagram seems to be taking off more than anything.
Yeah, I saw you had like 286, 87,000 on Instagram.
Yeah, Instagram.
So our YouTube is, my TikTok is my biggest.
Oh, is it? Yeah.
And then
yeah,
YouTube
TikTok is
like,
great too. Yeah.
My YouTube is like nothing. It's like
YouTube has
1,100.
it's harder. It's
Yeah.
gotten harder. Yeah. Like I put a couple of things out there recently. They don't do quite what they used to.
Yeah.
You used to put something out, you get 1 million views. Now it's like you're getting 5,000 views.
Yeah,
So
I don't know what's up with it.
I don't know.
And then Josh just showed you Michelle Allen if you want to buy, sell, rent, lease real estate. We've been talking about Kickin people, masonsmartialarts.com. We're happy to get you in there, adults and children. 2 locations, one in Millington, one in Covington. And then if you like to read, Jam Books and Records is located on the square here in town. It's a lot of records, new books, signed memorabilia, and graded comic books. And then if you do want to maximize your health, holistic healthcare and hormones, Dr. Laura and my wife Madeline will be glad to help you out. They do hormone therapy and just trying to help maximize your performance in life. And then last but not least, if you want help with your social media marketing, commercials, etc., just visit masonitemarketing.com. And you guys have a good rest of your week. Keep kicking. Thanks for watching, guys. Just remember that this is not legal advice or investment advice or business advice. This is for fun and entertainment purposes only.